So modes are a fairly basic concept, and it has to do with the bass scale and its scale degrees. So a major scale has 7 notes, and there's 7 intervals, okay? And each note of the scale is a scale degree. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? So as we begin the discussion about modes, I'll use an analogy to a movie, okay? And let's start with a 7-scene movie, and we'll duplicate it and put the 2 movies end to end. Okay, so there's 2 copies of the same movie, and we're going to make 7 different versions of the movie. Okay, so the first version or cut we'll call Ionian cut. Okay, and it's just simply the movie. It's from scene 1 through 7. Okay, now the next version or cut will be the Dorian cut. Okay, and it's basically the same movie, same series of scenes, same order of scenes, same number of scenes, but now we're just starting on scene 2, and then we're going into the next copy and we're ending on scene 1, okay? So basically start on scene 2 and go from 2 to 7, and then scene 1 is the ending of this version, okay? And then the next cut would be the Phrygian cut, and we start on scene 3, go through 7, and then we go into the next copy 2 scenes. We start on scene 3 and conclude with scene 2, okay, and so on. So the Lydian cut is starting on scene 4, go through the same sequence of scenes, but then you wind up on scene 3. The next one would be the Mixolydian cut. The next one would be the Aeolian cut, the Locrian cut, and then we're back to the Ionian cut. So in the end, there are 7 different movies, 7 different cuts, okay? But you can see they're the same length, they're the same number of scenes, the same sequence of scenes, but just different starting points, okay? And this applies to music in modes. It's the same idea. You have a scale, okay, and here's your bass scale, and then you have your modal scale below it, and that's the ruler here, okay? And so you start with the Ionian mode, which is just the major scale, and it's scale degree 1 through 7, okay? Now, the next mode is the Dorian mode, and it starts on the 2nd degree of the major scale. And you can see it's the same number of notes, the same sequence of notes, same sequence of intervals. It just starts on the 2, or so the 2nd scale degree. And then the next mode would be the Phrygian mode, okay? Starts on the 3rd degree of the scale, same number of notes. Lydian is the 4th, Mixolydian the 5th, Aeolian, Locrian, and then back to the Ionian mode. So that's it. So there's 7 scale degrees. There are 7 modes, and that's what a mode is. So you have a modal scale based on the bass scale, and they all contain the same notes. They all contain the same intervals in the same order of intervals. They just have a different starting point, okay? And so that's all a mode is. A mode is a modal scale based off the bass scale, just with a different starting point. It has the same number of notes, same interval sequence, just simply different starting point, okay? And so there's 7 of them. And you can use these modes on the guitar and go all the way up the neck. And because the guitar has multiple strings, you can stack them and move between the strings and add additional layers to it. And so that's what fretboard mastery is about. It leverages the nature of the guitar and the fact that it has numerous strings. And by using modes and the fact that they're theory-based and based on the bass scale, you can use them to negotiate the fretboard in a very effective manner.